Okay, so what do you want to do first?
What is this? This is high plus?
Prescription again? Okay, this is prescription. Alright, temples are away from you, correct? Okay, you put in the lensometer what?
Yeah, yes.
Plus 750. And
High plus.
you put the axis indicator to what? 170.
This is very
Okay,
fine.
what do you expect to see? Why don't you put the glasses in there? Okay, if you don't, then you got to figure out, well, how far off is the power? Refocus the power, see how much you're off from this 750. If the axis is continuous, turn the axis indicator, see how far off it is. This is a 1 1/4, so again, it's 8 degrees. Except for reject. Okay, what do you do for the cylinder power? What do you put the lensometer be?
625.
You want it at 6. Don't you just want it at?
Plus 625. We okay with that? Okay, what do you expect to see?
Clear.
Triple line.
Triple line, clear, sharp, and continuous. Okay, if it's not, then refocus and see how far off it is. Okay, and don't worry about altering the axis here. Okay, if you found it off on the cylinder, in other words, if it read 180 up here, I would leave it at 180 when I check the cylinder power, so at least it would be clear. Okay, I'm sorry, it would be continuous, it might not be clear, or you would check it as the power. Okay, but it will be 90 degrees away. If you found one off, the axis is off, but you reject it at one place. Okay, how do we do the add power on a high plus?
Put it.
How do we do the add power? You turn the glasses around, temple's coming towards you. What do you read?
Central.
Read what? True, but you need to read it in a certain spot. You got it. You find it to be centered, which is the OC. Okay, I'll tell you right now, and I will remind you before you do the practice, is the lensometer that you use is going to be based on you using it. Therefore, it's important before you put the glasses in that you check two things. You focus the eyepiece, and then you focus the Dr. wheel. Okay, make sure the triple single line is clear and crisp when you look at the Dr. power and it says flat. Okay, if that's wrong, I would go to the lensometer. Okay, if it is right, then you go up to the reticule, the little thing on top of the eyepiece, and put the target right in the center of the reticule. Okay, do those things, add your lensometer, then you put the glasses in. Make sure you do that, otherwise you're not truly turning up the center. And or your power is going to be incorrect because these was often you didn't know. You have to do that. I can't be accountant for all these lensometers. Theoretically, they are, there's a bunch of them that are new. Most of the others have been checked sometime during the semester, but it doesn't mean they're perfect. It's up to you to find it. Okay, anyway, you find the up in the center. We don't need any power there. All you need is the OC. Okay, remember, on the scale, next to the stage, there's a little number. That's what you need. You need that stage number. So we'll give you the stage number that you have to see on the scale. Okay. Next thing you do is you now move it down. Temples are coming towards you for all three of these. Just get down and move into the add. I would be as close to the top of the add as you can because you don't want to go down any more than you have to. The more that you go down, the more the target will be displaced and you might not see a horizontal line at all. Okay. That's why you choose it as vertical as someone said before you do it. At this point, you read two things. You read the power, and this would be power, this will put a P down. And you need another stage reading. Okay, you have a stage reading up here. Okay. All right, we'll say this stage reading read 30. And we'll say this stage reading down here read
15.
Oh, 30. There. We'll say I read 38. Okay, what do you do now?
22. 22.
On the difference.
You take the difference, 30, that's supposed to be a 0. Yeah. Okay, so the difference between this point, optical center, and where you read it here is 8 millimeters. So you add 8 millimeters to your starting point of 30. Okay, so this took you up to...
So it's at 15?
Okay. Okay, the difference between 38 and 30.
Great.
You go whatever you move it. Okay? And that's the difference. Which the amount that you move it from the optical center into the ad is the same distance that you go on the other direction. I think my numbers are upside down as well.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, the difference here is 8. Therefore, you would take 8 from this would be
22.
22.
I thought you had to add 15 to that too.
Okay.
It's usually
There's no
at
adding. You take exactly the number that you went from the optical center to the difference. Okay, I'll tell you what. Let's get this in the right sequence so that we're okay with this.
It's an eraser.
Okay, so let's see.
Yeah.
Put the right numbers in there. So this one has 38. Okay, this one read 30. The difference between 38 and 30 is 8.
46.
You go up from the 38 up.
46.
Therefore, the next number you would want to read is 46. Set the stage to be 46. Okay, and that would end.
Yeah, you could add the audio on that.
This time you read the distance on it. Okay, you compare this value right up here to this value right down here, and that difference will be the ad tolerance. Or within a half diopter, tolerance of a half diopter on high plus. Okay? Yeah.
I have a question. This happened to me before. Sometimes if I'm in the ad, even if it's like the top part of the ad, it doesn't reach, like I
On the
put the
stage.
stage up all the way and it doesn't reach.
Okay. Two things that you could do. Number one is you're not in the ad at all when you're down here. Okay, or sometimes that happens because you go too far in the ad.
Okay.
So if you can do the ad closer to the top, hopefully you'll get into it. If you can't, okay, there's two ways to do it. You can do it with your millimeter rule. In other words, I go back and dot the optical center, use the marking device, go down and read, wherever you read the ad, redot it, and take your millimeter rule and measure outside from there to there. Then take that same millimeter rule and measure above and put a dot on the lens, and then look in the lensometer at the second dot. Scale it off.
I just paid the big bucks.
But make sure you don't go down into the ad very far, and that's when it can happen. And the stage won't allow you to get your reading. Okay, you can move to another lensometer, another option. Okay. Or, if I was doing the practical and all the lensometers were taken, I would go down as little as possible, and if it's off the scale, then I would estimate. How much off the scale is it? And figure it out and go, use that, my guess criteria going above. And you'll be close enough. We give you half diopter tolerance here. There's lots of the way. Okay, seg height is the same thing as we talked about. The seg width, same thing. This is a wide seg, so take it from, a round seg, so the widest point to the widest point should be the width. Okay, how do you do the base curve?
Lens cloth.
Okay, do the base curve by what?
Lens cloth.
Lens clock, maybe? Okay, where do you put the lens clock? 3 pins.
This
Put it on the front or back?
front.
Front. 3 pins. Horizontally, just make sure they're not in the seg area. Okay? Doesn't matter, you don't have to put them by axis. The front is a spherical surface. You can put them any way you want. The cylinder, it's on this RX, is created by the back surface, not by the front. Just put it on any way you want, and stay away from the seg area. Okay? And the base curve should be within, I think your paper says 3/4 of 10. Remember the base curve is a plus value, so if you found it to be wrong, put down it reads plus 9. Mark it wrong because it said it should be 10. By the way, so that you get some idea, what's a normal base curve? On a normal pair of glasses, the prescription is less than. It's supposed to be a B. Forget that. Okay, what's a normal base curve? It's a plus 6. Okay, so when you're dealing with higher plus, like this one is, the base curve is going to be steeper than plus 6. Okay, and really the answer is they want to keep the back surface to be somewhere between a -3 to a -5. Okay, so you can figure out what it's going to be based on the back surface being a -3. If it's a -3, and we need plus 750, the front's got to be 1050, doesn't it? All right, so you right there figured it out what it should be about. And here's the number here. It should be within 3/4 of what's written on the paper. Okay, if this was a -RX, I would expect the base curve to be less than 6. Okay, maybe a 2 base, or maybe a 3 base, maybe a 4 base. That's how you figure out the base curve. Okay, future reference. Okay, the other thing I want you to do here is you're going to have to measure the near PD. How do you measure near PD?
Find out.
Okay, this one we haven't talked about yet. How do we do near PD? On a pair of glasses is what I want. I need how to measure one on the patient's eye. But how do you do it on the glasses? Okay. Isn't it not the center of this one to the center of this one? Isn't that the near PD? Okay. All right, I'll give you an easy way to do the same thing as you just did. Okay, measure one side, take the inside side of one to the outside side of the other, and you have the near PD.
Sweet.
Okay, when it's a flat top, or it's a round tag, make sure the millimeter rule is straight horizontal. Can't be tilted up or down. Okay, straight horizontal. Okay, measure inside of one to the outside of the other. You can do this on flat tops. You can't do it on an exec. You don't have to worry about it because it doesn't have a near PD anyway. Okay, so that's what you do. So you'll have to have 2 lenses. I might not ask you about the prescription for the other one, but it has to have a lens in there if I ask you for the near PD. Okay, it needs to be 2.5 millimeters within 2.5 of 61. Okay, you don't have to worry about this. Okay. All right, we okay? Any questions on a progressive? Sorry, a high plus? Okay. All right, let's do the last one, and then we can do some work.